This is INBrief with Phil Cummins, Senior Managing Director, Venture Capital and Growth Equity at the StepStone Group. First of all, Phil, thank you very much for attending and participating in the Inside Network's Investment Leaders Forum, Noosa 2026.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
It's great having you here. Phil, venture capital continues to evolve and continues to be poorly understood in some areas. What's most interesting to you about the opportunity set in VC right now?
Right now, I mean, the beauty of venture capital is that it's always evolving. It's at the cutting edge. And in some ways, you can think about venture capital as the R&D engine of global equity markets. And today, that emphasis has shifted from what we saw in the 2010s, which was the SaaS business model, very much software focused, to where we are with the AI wave in terms of reimagining compute, reimagining energy, LLMs. It is fundamentally changing many industries, and I think we're at the very early stages of that fundamental change. Things like medical, legal, defense tech, all being completely reimagined.
And from the investor's perspective, how should they think about these massive changes that AI is bringing to the VC opportunity set and also to the way VC managers manage their portfolios?
Well, I think a couple of the key points here is that companies today are growing much faster than they ever have before. Today, companies are reaching, for example, $100 million of revenue in less than 12 months. In the SaaS era, that was sort of 5 to 10 years, and that was seen as the gold standard. Companies, in terms of their growth within the private markets, are growing much larger than we've ever seen before. So they're not just staying private longer, they're just scaling to be much bigger companies. And all of that value creation is flowing to the private markets. And I think that's a really important aspect for people as they think about private versus public and technology versus other sectors. Venture is at the leading edge of technology, and today most of that value creation is all happening in the private markets. In the old days, companies would go public to grow. Today, they go public to mature.
And if you look at the market environment we're in, I mean, venture capital, like a lot of asset classes, is a long-term story. But 2026, Phil, it's been a turbulent start to the year. But even stripping out those geopolitical and macro forces, it's a tougher funding environment. So what really gives you confidence in the future of VC as we stand here in March 2026?
I think one of the prevailing forces within venture has always been power law. In power law, in terms of not only do a small amount of companies generate the bulk of the returns, but also a small amount of the managers, the actual funders of those companies. So I think the way we think about sort of where to be and how to play venture is you've got to be in the best companies that are being backed by the best managers. And so you have a very long tail. And I think the long tail is where the liquidity and the funding issues are more being prevalent. And today we see the sort of the known brands and sort of really some of the most influential groups, they have no problems fundraising. So we sort of have a lot of haves and the have-nots. And I think we're going to see continued concentration around how that power law plays out, both at the company level, but also the VC level.
How do you see this idea that venture capital really could be seen as just an extension of an equity allocation?
I think there's a lot of merit. I think the lens to think about this is technology companies have generated the bulk of return over the last 20 or 30 years. We would believe that that's not about to change. Technology is probably the prevailing sort of sector or thematic, and venture is at the sort of the heart of it. So in terms of where is equity value going to be created and where is it going to be created from a technology perspective, venture really is at the heart and soul of that.
Phil, over a long and distinguished career, what's the best piece of leadership advice that really has stuck out for you and held true all through that career?
I think probably listen more than you talk. Empathy.
Yes.
Are sort of two probably important factors as you think about, leadership and being amongst the team and how do you get the best out of team members. I think empathy and listening more than you talk is probably two good rules to follow.
Phil Cummins, StepStone Group, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks very much, James.